Module 9, Lesson 3. Being a leader, being a follower. Now, if you asked a large number of divers if they thought they were leaders or followers in diving, many would likely say no, as they don't dive in a team. If you asked instructors if they were leaders, it would have been interesting to hear their thoughts, especially if you asked them if their answer still held true outside of the training environment. The problem with defining leadership is that actually there are so many definitions. However, I like these two because they encompass a number of issues, especially when it comes to a recreational activity like diving. Leadership is the art of influencing others to do what we want them to do because they want to do it, from C. Eddington and P. Ford. And the following is from the UK Defence Leadership Centre. There is no prescription of leadership and no prescribed style of leader. Leadership is a combination of example, persuasion, compulsion, and is dependent on the situation. Now, what is clear is that there is a continual dynamic between the role of leaders, the role of followers within the teams, and the overlap between team capability and how to achieve success in a team. This means that leadership is not static, but is situational. This situational style also rings true with teaching. Now, this diagram is modified from the spectrum of teaching styles, which shows the ways in which teaching styles change from instructor-led or control through to student-led or control. You'll notice the learning team on the left with the instructor leading or controlling, and the student or operational team on the right where they're in control of the learning. You might have also noticed the way in which the learning style is applied. When it's instructor-led, the learning is more about reproduction, whereas in the situational-led situations, it's more about discovery and production. This is not much different to the spectrum of leadership styles, which move through autocracy, democracy, benevolence, and then laissez-faire, which is a relaxed, hands-free form of leadership. So what are the behaviours of an effective leader? Note that these are verbs and not nouns. Leadership is about doing, not being. Creates a sense of connection and purpose, something we discussed earlier in the module. They show vulnerability to create trust, which is the basis of psychological safety in module 4. Communicates to the listener's needs, which links with the communication model and also the preferred interaction style of the team members and the team as a whole based on their maturity. They explain why the team are doing what they're doing, where the leader clearly articulates that purpose of the team and the task. They collaborate to enhance team performance. They are authentic and servant in their leadership style. It's not about me, it's about developing others and bringing them up so they can achieve their full potential and then succeed in the process. It's about changing their leadership style based on the context. As we've already said, one size does not fit all. They practice visible leadership. They walk the talk. They're role models. This is why instructors are still leaders outside of their teaching environment. And this can be very difficult, especially when undertaking higher risk activities and exploration dives, where the limits applied to training cannot apply because they're too conservative. However, when diving inside limits, instructors should be role models. Students will copy what is done rather than what is said. Actions speak louder than words. Enough of leaders, what about followers? If leaders need to be dynamic and adaptable, how do those who are following in a team need to behave as part of an effective team? The simple answer is they do what the leader does and support them in their task. That doesn't mean they're being sheep, it means they're being a constructive dissenter. In this framework from Ira Chaleff, she highlights 4 quadrants based on support and challenge or dissent. What we would really like to be are partners, those who will be supportive and be constructive in their dissent, working towards achieving the team goals but letting the leader know that things aren't necessarily rosy or they need to change. What we definitely don't want is the resource, those who are constantly picking away and being destructive towards the team. Implementers are the yes men, the sheep who will agree to the leader's position but won't challenge. Students, when there is low psychological safety, can be in this position. Individualists are not necessarily team players. Now, there are many aspects to leadership and followership in the context of diving, and none of this is formally taught in diver training programs, and yet it is critical to success in a team environment, and pretty much every diver training class involves a leader, the instructor, and followers, the students. Now, the next lesson summarizes leadership and followership, and the next module looks at what we can do to increase the likelihood the shared mental model is not compromised.